Hi everybody, I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama, and I'm really excited to show you something new that I'm going to teach you how to try in order to make some really cheap and easy chicken treats. We're going to be making sprouts for our flock. I'm really excited about trying this, and so you guys are going to be learning about it and sort of experimenting with it right along with me. And this is something I've never done before, but it's really cheap. It's almost no effort, and in a week we can have a really healthy, really cheap snack for our chickens. Now, as usual, I'm going to tell you a couple of things just as a warning before you get too excited, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to set this up. I'm going to teach you all about what I've been reading about, and then hopefully I'll have a follow-up video in another week where you guys can see the completed sprouts, and you can also see the flock's reaction as they get them for the first time. So what we're talking about is taking something like lentils, alfalfa, wheatgrass, and sprouting it over the period of a week using just fresh filtered water. And after a week, the original legume or seed or whatever you were using is soft enough and it has sprouted so that it provides nutrition for your chickens and it's safe for them to eat. Now you can also do versions of this for your own family, but what I'm going to be talking about is specifically what we're going to be doing so that it's chicken safe. So let's talk about what that doesn't mean. This is not going to be a very cheap, easy replacement for you buying chicken food. This is not going to be, this is what you give them all day, every day, and this is all that they eat. This is going to be a really healthy supplement for them, sure, especially if your chickens are in an area where they can't really forage, they don't get a lot of fresh greens like grass and other plants. This will be a great opportunity for them to get a good healthy snack that's in your control, so you're watching it, you're monitoring it. But this is not going to mean, hey, Sarah told me that I don't have to go buy chicken feed anymore. Woohoo! This is not a replacement for that. And on a side note, I don't mess with the recipe, with the formula of any of the chick starter or chick grower or broiler meat bird food or layer food. I don't mess with the recipes. I've never been interested in trying to make my own. I'm good with what I'm buying at Tractor Supply. So don't mess with that, but this is a good healthy supplement. Examples of things that you could use for sprouting. I'm going to be using lentils for this round, but you can also use wheatgrass, you could use barley, you can use sunflower seeds. You can buy kits for doing this kind of stuff at home, either for your family or for chickens. But I found a really cheap way that I've been reading about, so I thought I would show you while I do it. And thanks to Lacey with the San Antonio Chicken Group, because she's the expert who's been teaching some of us online. So what we're going to do is use a bag of lentils that I got at H-E-B, and I'll show you over here at my sink in a minute when we're setting it all up. And this bag costs, easily less than $2. I think it was 94 cents if I had to remember. And what we're going to do is over a week, we're going to be rinsing and draining them really well, but then otherwise keeping them in a container for a week somewhere in the house. So let's talk about what kind of container you would want to use. People have had success doing this with mason jars, which is more of a vertical container, right, where everything's stacked more on top. But I've had some friends say that they've tried it and they didn't have any luck because the smell got really bad and all of the stuff in the bottom half of the container started to rot. And I'm terrified of giving anything rotten or moldy to my flock, because if you guys have been around and you've been listening to my videos, you know that anything like that, because chickens can't vomit, something like that can kill them. So I don't want to mess with that. So I thought for my first batch, I'm going to try with more of a horizontal container. That way we'll see when these are actually in this bread pan, this loaf pan, they're not going to be super thick and deep, if that makes sense. Like there's only going to be a couple of them on a layer, and hopefully that helps them to not just sit in too much moisture. And then what we're going to do is hopefully they'll be sprouting by tomorrow or the next day. But again, for our chickens, we don't want them eating hard raw lentils or anything like that. So we're going to let them sprout for a full week. But if this works, guys, this is a really super cheap, interesting way that I can be growing like fodder for my chickens and just basically giving it to them once a week. So a couple of other things to think about. We are going to be keeping this inside. Like I said, I would start, people said they've had success with like a disposable like 6 or 9 inch pie pan. People have used different kinds of jars, plates, loaf pans, different kinds of containers. But you want to think about something that you can basically dedicate to doing this for a week. So make sure you pick a dish or a plate or a pan that you're not going to need for a week. And then it does need to be kept inside until you're ready to feed it to your flock. and you do need to use filtered water. Don't just use tap water. So what we're gonna do once in the morning and once at night, we're gonna do what I'm about ready to show you over here at the sink, and then hopefully they're going to start sprouting because they are becoming alive, they're germinating, and they're ready to start growing plants even though they're not really in the ground, and then we can feed them to the girls in a week. So here we go. And we're back, ta-da! So this is my package. It's 1 pound or 16 ounces of just lentils, and they're here in my loaf pan. And this is what they're like when they're dry, right? And if I stick my finger in to show you the depth, so it's, I mean, maybe ½ an inch deep. So I'm hoping by moving these guys around twice a day and rinsing and draining them really well, I'm hoping that we're not gonna have any kind of mold problem. So what we're gonna do, and I hope that you all appreciate my sink, I cleaned it like a grown-up so that I could do this video. So what we're gonna do, we're not using tap water, we're gonna use my filtered water. This is RO. And I'm gonna put some water in there. Obviously, if I was doing this by myself, I'd be using both of my hands. But this is the first time, so I'm gonna spend a little bit of extra effort. Like if you've ever made pinto beans or refried beans, you know, you really wanna clean them and go through them. Then we're gonna drain them really well. And then what we're going to do is we need to have some kind of cover so that it's gonna hold in some of the moisture, but you don't want to completely cover the whole thing up because that's when you're gonna have the mold problem, right? So what we're gonna use is Saran wrap, right? This clear, not that, clear Saran wrap. And we're going to completely cover it, but then we're gonna poke a couple of little holes in it so there is a little bit of circulation. And then I have that spot over there, that little corner table where I've got a baby English ivy, I've got my orchid that just finished blooming, and I'm gonna put it over there. And so I'll show you here in a minute when it's ready to be seen. Ta-da! All right, so now they have been rinsed, they've been drained really well so there's not any standing water in the bottom. I didn't end up using a small pasta strainer that I have, but before I figured out that I should use a pasta strainer, we did have a couple of casualties. But just like, you know, rinsing beans or some other stuff, you know, as you do it, you know, you get a little bit of debris out or some skins or shells or whatever. So they are now clean. They've been wrapped. They have been poked. You guys would laugh at me. I tried to do another take of the video where I'm holding my phone with one hand and I'm trying to poke it with a fork. And of course it didn't work because the Saran wrap has to be taut. So whoops, but there are holes in it. My thinking right now, guys, is honestly that I would rather have a little bit too many holes because then maybe they just won't sprout as quickly as opposed to not enough holes because I don't want anything to rot or mold because then, I mean, you have to throw it out. You can't use it for anything. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a spot here on this table as you watch me move all this stuff out of the way. And what we're gonna do is, starting tomorrow, we're going to be rinsing and draining those twice a day, keeping them here in this sunny area, but they do need to be inside, don't leave them outside. That way they've got a little bit more just consistent temperature control. And then hopefully by tomorrow night or by, you know, the full second or third day, you should be seeing some sprouts in there. We're gonna get them nice and agitated, you know, gently, but moving everything around and folding them and stuff as we're cleaning. And then I will do a video next week. If you guys are watching this and, you know, the days that it came out, this is August of 2020. So if you guys are seeing this live or pretty close to live, then check in at the end of August because hopefully we will have some success. I promise I'll show you the video, even if I totally screwed it up. And then we'll see what the chickens think. So I hope this has been really fun for you guys. I'm really excited, especially if it ends up working because this was really cheap and really easy. So I'm Sarah, the Real Simple Mama. I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know if you've ever made sprouts for your chickens or for your family, what you used and what you guys think. Thanks for watching.